Namaste everyone. This is going to be a pranayama for healing emotions. Okay, so after this pranayama, you may cry or you may cry during it. It's to detoxify heavy emotions that we're carrying. So when we carry on to a lot of grief, it can block us. Okay, not only block us from having deep bonds and friendships with other people, but it can also block us from really asserting ourselves when it comes to career. Okay, our emotions is our haven. So when we don't feel safe, we can't open up in a relationship or even when it comes to pursuit of our career. So the openness and the healing of the heart is very important when it comes to not only a healthy, happy, holy relationship, but also when it comes to new creative ideas to move your business or your career to the next level. So when we hold on to a lot of grief, what happens is we close ourselves down, we shut down, okay? And we block ourselves from new opportunities because the heart represents potential. It is the window into potential. When we close that window and when that window becomes very darkened by the grief, we can't see clearly our potential out there in the world. We don't have as much courage or bravery or grit or charisma when our heart is closed. So there's two sides to grief. Okay, there is the grief, the dark energy as we know, and then there's the wisdom, which is compassion. So grief and compassion are two sides to one coin. Okay, to be compassionate is to have gone through grief. To go through grief is to reach compassion. They're one and the same. They're just in the polarity of this planet. So we can hang in grief, okay, and grief is very much a lot of self-doubt. A lot of insecurity dwells there. We start to dwell, become very sentimental, and we can become very attached to our perception because we can't see clearly because we're closed. It's like trying to see out, but then the window is obscured. It's like a smoked window. You can't really see clearly what's through the window because it's smoked, like a smoke and mirror. Your perception can be obscured when our heart is very closed. A lot of times when our heart is closed, we see through the lenses of grief. And when we have a lot of grief, we can see disappointment. That's the lens we're looking through, is the lens of disappointment, of shame, of self-doubt, of self-ridicule. Okay? Well, we go through those emotions because we are human. We take it on. Okay? It's a part of our human blueprint that we all will go through grief one time, probably many times in life, right? And it's not there to knock us down or to crush us, right? It's not to crush our spirit. It is to help us to experience the wisdom, okay? The wisdom of transformation, the wisdom of transmutation. To take that crush, you're being crushed by the weight of this world, and to actually transform it into compassion, which is like the diamond out of that carbon crushed down by the weight of the mountain. The weight of the mountain can be grief, where literally you're carrying a weight on your shoulders. Sometimes that weight is there to push us, to challenge us, to step out of our comfort zone and to pursue things that maybe we would have not pursued if we didn't go through that period of grief. So sometimes grief can be a wake-up call in the way that it can awaken your psychic gifts, as the death of my father awakened my psychic gifts. It can awaken that, hey, I'm worthy of something better. If a relationship ends and you go through the grief period of the crying, the emotions, and you get to the compassion, the wisdom, open your heart, look at the potential, like seeing a higher view of your life. And then you realize, wait, I'm worthy of a greater relationship. So grief is a doorway. It's not just a dwelling, it's a doorway. It's a window. Emotions are a window to help us look out into the world, to help us realize greater potential, and to help us love ourselves. And that's what grief trains us to do. When we experience the heavy grief, what it does is it really pushes us to love ourselves. Because there's no way we can get through to the other side, which is compassion, without loving ourselves. Loving ourselves is also loving another person. People who do not have to have compassion is to love yourself. It's very difficult to have compassion for, let's say, love other people when you don't have that for yourself. So grief, the great crush, I feel like I'm crushed by whatever it is. It is to push you, to challenge you to love yourself so deeply. That's a diamond. That's an angel of this world. The angel of this world, it is not simply the light and love, the compassion. There's two sides to what it is to be a diamond, to be the angel. The side of heavy grief, of every single archangel and ascended being and master on this planet has gone through the crush of the mountain, the challenge, the adversity, the obstacle, the weight of the mountain that's pressing them down and down into carbon, into dirt, into mud. But they found a tool, they found a way. And how we find a way, just like any sort of philosophy, is loving ourselves. Everything, dance, music, healing, spiritual bath, or crystal bowls. What is it? Even going to motivational speech or inspirational book or whatever it is. All of it is about, I found my way through loving myself. So let's really awaken that within ourselves and let some emotions come out. So emotions, they'll be heavy, but again, there's another side to it. But you'll never know if you don't actually go inside. That's the thing about grief. You'll never know. If you just hold on to it and you never express it, you never let it out, you'll never know what's on the other side of grief. Many people, they never know what's on the other side of grief. They never know because they just hold so tightly onto the perception of resentment or betrayal or anxiety or I'm upset or I'm angry, I'm frustrated about this thing, this death in my life. They hold so tightly they never get to see what's on the other side. They close their hearts so much that their potential becomes limited. Life becomes limited. Everything is just a limitation, a relationship, a job, it's just another limitation. Fulfillment is the blooming of the heart. The self-worth that raises us to think higher of ourselves. The heart is the window to look out to get a high view. That's the heart. But the heart, it has an attic, or it has a basement, and it has an attic. The basement, there's not really a window. It's very dark. That's where memories hang out. That's where childhood hangs out. And we go into the basement through grief. Grief drops us into the basement and then kind of shuts the door behind us. Not to scare us with all the memories of the past and the childhood traumas, but to help us turn on a light into this basement. And to send love to all of these things that are lurking in our basement that we are fearful of, so that we can be brave enough to actually look through the window of the attic, look through at our high potential, and have the courage to actually go for it. Without bravery, we wouldn't actually be able to go for it. We need bravery. And bravery is not just the joy and the enthusiasm of looking through the window to the attic and getting a high view and seeing all the possibility that's all around you. No, it's a lot of times being crushed, brought into that basement where all the sort of things that we are fearful of happening in our life, and befriending them, speaking with them, learning about them. Why are you like this? Tell me. It's having a conversation with that part of yourself. We ignore those parts of ourselves. We shove it to the side. We deny, and we lose a large amount of bravery when we do that. And that affects us in careers, it affects us in relationships, because we don't know how to really step up in career, to be confident, really assured, because we have all these insecurities, because we're not as brave as we think we are. And then in relationships, we don't know how to express ourselves, and we're feeling like a little bit insecure about ourselves and that, so we kind of hold back and we close off, shut down, detach, and because we're not as brave as we think we are. We are much braver than we think we are, but usually bravery, like the angel or any sort of ascended being like Krishna and Radha in the great mythology, Indian mythology, bravery is going into and facing the enemy in self, which is the sabotage, the voices, the crazed voices, the seduction voices inside of us that try to lead us into ideas, self-concepts that take away our energy, take away our power, make us feel victim, make us feel irrelevant, make us feel meaningless. And to face those things, right? To face those things. Go into that basement and look at it. Not with the eyes of, I'm unworthy to transform because of my past, because of my childhood. Going in there saying, I am worthy, I am a human being, I came here to experience compassion, both grief and compassion. I came to liberate myself. Because when I'm liberated, everything I say and do is a great liberation for all of humanity. Okay, so we're just going to go right into it. So you're going to have your hands behind your neck, and you're going to be pulling up like this, you see, pulling my neck up, tucking the chin, stick the tongue out. Pumping the navel, and your eyes are going to be closed. Your tongue is sticking way out, and it's like a breath of fire with the mouth open, and you're kind of letting that air roll off the tongue while you're pumping that navel. It's very detoxifying for the heart. And really have your armpits wide. Really pull up, like literally pull your head out of your ass. And let your face be relaxed. Don't do anything with your jaw. Don't let your jaw be tight. Let everything relax. Really stick your heart out too by really opening up the arms, the armpits, and really pulling those arms up. So you see I'm really pulling and lifting up while I'm pulling the skull upward. And if you yawn, that's just wonderful. It means that you're literally, you're alleviating the tension in your psyche. It's kind of like yawning. You're letting go of the psyche tension. So keep going. When I say inhale, you're going to inhale through the tongue, with the tongue out of the mouth, through the throat. Like that. You're going to roll the tongue in. Like that. And then you're going to place it on the top of the top of the roof of the mound. Holding the breath, squeezing up mullabandha, sex organ, rectum, navel, belly button, spine with the chin tucked in. And then you're going to come down and place your forehead on the ground 8 times like a bow. You come up, you exhale powerfully with the breath out, like literally sighing out, and then inhale through the tongue out again, very powerful like that. Roll the tongue back in, and very slowly like that. Place it on the top of the upper palate, and then come back down, bowing 8 times, and you're going to mentally recite sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. Inhale. Roll the tongue in slowly. Press on the upper palate, hold the breath, come down. Exhale. Inhale. Two more. One more. Exhale. Now inhale. Roll the tongue in. Exhale, powerful. Stick the tongue out like you're vomiting out. Inhale again. Roll the tongue in. Press it firmly on the upper palate. Squeeze up the mula bandha. Exhale. Get rid of all that toxic junk in your feelings, that negative feelings. One last time. Squeeze up. Press the tongue on the upper palate. Exhale. Lower your hands down. Woo. Take a moment to feel the adjustment. You can place your hands on your heart, head right over left. Long, deep breathing through the nose, like an ocean tide. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we exhale. Now we're going to use a mantra. Ang Sang Wae Guru. That's the mantra. Okay. Ang Sang Wae Guru. And I want you to feel the vibration in your chest. So not the vibration in your throat, it's in your chest, and feel it in your navel, the vibration. And feel that it's vibrating into you. It's seeping into your emotions, this high vibrational mantra, this high vibrational sound current of creation, of creativity, of creator. And it's giving you the power to be creative with your emotions and not destructive. You're one or the other. You're either creative with your emotions, meaning you're getting inspired to be a painter, a singer with your emotions, or you're being destructive, which is recklessness, resentment, eye for an eye, that kind of thing. So let it seep into you and let it literally rinse out, like squeezing a dirty towel, rinse out all of that destructive mayhem that we get ourselves caught into because of grief. Such as attention seeking that comes from children who are dealing with the death of a loved one. They can be very restless and anxious because of they don't know how to necessarily turn that grief into a creative expression, because nobody teaches kids how to take grief and to actually move it into an expression of art, of dance, of music. A lot of times parents tell their kids to just shove it to the side and keep it moving, but all shoving it to the side does is it becomes an entity that hovers over the child, and every time the child tries to escape, there's an entity that is the grief. They detach from themselves, and now that entity is like a shadow that haunts the child, or the boogeyman, or the thing that follows them around that they can't escape. That's what happens when we detach our emotions of grief from us. It becomes an entity that hovers over us. But if we use, again, this high sound current, we can take that grief and we can actually bring it into creative, such as a creative entity. A creative entity can be like a song we came up with, or a painting we created in response to grief that we look at in the morning, and it reminds us of the inspiration that grief can be. It doesn't necessarily have to be despair and loss of hope. It can also be hope for faith, or courage, these kinds of things. So this mantra is to give courage to grief, not recklessness to grief. Aung Sang Waheguru. 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 Inhale. Press the sound current into your heart. Let it gong out through the navel, through the heart, through the third eye. Feel creative. Feel inspired, motivated to take your grief, your anger, your frustration, that death energy and to move it into music, song, and dance, empowerment, liberation. Exhale. Now hands Gyan Mudra, twist side to side, quick. So inhale to the left, exhale to the right through the nose. Inhale forward. Squeeze out Mula Bandha. Sex organ, rectum, navel, belly button, spine, tuck in the chin, press the tongue on the upper palate, open the chest as wide, have this 90-degree angle at the hands. Exhale. Inhale. Hold the posture. Feel the weight of emotions lifting off your chest like a dove, like a white dove coming out of your chest and flying up. Exhale. Inhale. Let the weight just fall off your heart. Lift up it. It's lifting up, up, up. You're lifting up your heavy emotions. Squeeze from the toe all the way up as though you're levitating off the floor. Exhale. Last posture we're going to do is we're going to be on our knees. And our knees are going to be wide. Okay, like this, as wide as you can. So I'm kind of wearing a skirt. So very much like this. What you're going to do is you're going to flex. So what we're going to do is we're really going to kind of pump. We're going to really balance out. This is good for your sexual, call it tantric, your tantric sexual energy. So about moving that Kundalini. So have your legs wide. So when your legs are wide, it's, what are you doing? You're working on your sex, right? When you have spread eagle, you're working on your sex, right? So we're going to flex forward and back. And it's kind of like a breath of fire. So get into that rhythm of that Kundalini energy, like moving up you, okay? So we're really working on the root chakra as well as the solar plexus through the pelvic, the birth canal, okay? So we're really like activating our sexual energy. So really get tantric sexual energy. Allow it to move through you and allow it to move up into your heart and allow that tantric energy, that sexual energy to heal your emotions. So sex in the matriarchal times was used as a healing practice, not as a release of stress. Sex for stress. That's kind of what people are doing it for nowadays. Sex is for stress. But in the matriarchal times, thousands of years ago, it was used for healing. Tantric sexuality is very healing, and that's just not just penetration, intercourse. There's also eye gazing. There's sitting on each other's lap, or there's sort of blessings that we can do with each other. So tantric sexuality was more so of a way to amplify healing energy, to create immense healing for the self and for the other. Okay? Sex is not a burden. It's not a dumping ground. Let me dump my stress onto you. Let me dump my psyche debris into your body so I can feel less tight and less burdened. That just makes everybody feel burdened, and everybody feels just kind of, wow, that was not worth it. So let's clear out our own sexual, our own tensions, our own sort of heaviness that we have emotionally and in our navel, so that when we experience sex with someone, it's not about burdens, our closeness, tightness, tension I'm trying to get out of my body. It's more so about my body is ready to receive you. My body is ready to receive you. It's ready to be activated because I've already have moved the Kundalini in such a way where that Kundalini has eliminated, relinquished the burdens for me. So now when I come with you, I'm coming completely creative, not tired, not low vitality, not shut down, detached. I'm coming to you as creative, mind, body, and spirit, because I want to play with your body. I want to play with you for healing, for deeper healing and deeper intimacy with what it means to be healed by another human being and by the self. Okay, so close your eyes and just, again, really working on that sexual energy. So this is something, keep going. This is something as a woman you can do before you have sexual, like, penetration. It's a way of, like, it opens up your pelvic, your hip rotation as well, and also can open up your cervix so you can have a deeper sort of availability for that cervix orgasm, we could say. But also women represents the snake, the serpent energy, which is about the rising of the Kundalini energy, the creative energy. Man is the seed. So with any seed, a seed has to be carried. So we know the semen has a little swimmer, you know, and they do travel, they find their way, right? But when it comes to that sexuality with a woman is able to really move the energy. She is the fire. She can light up the furnace, and she can move the energy to places he beyond his wildest imagination, because man is dense. Sometimes man needs the energy to be moved by a woman so that he can get to those seeming untouchable places. While women, we know how to get to those untouchable places quite easily because we're not as dense as men. We're the serpent. We can really move that energy, okay? We can move it. But with a man, and that deeper sort of penetration with a man, like penetrating his heart and his throat and penetrating the perineum, and that, okay, with us, is an ability to really connect with your own vitality. Because when you got your own furnace lit within your own body, basically that fire kind of engulfs him. It kind of engulfs him, and it really moves things. Like, moves things. Okay? And really moves the seed. Okay? You know, the seed of his lifeline, his legacy, you can say. That's the seed. It's like that legacy, the lifeline. It can really move it into places of like unlocking doors to different aspects of himself. So Inhale. Exhale. Come seated. So just doing that like 5 minutes, I mean, you're going to feel it in your hips, your pelvic, you're going to feel something in that just means that things are opening up. And if it's really tight in these leg areas, I recommend doing it more, because then you're going to loosen up some energy. So the woman in sex is about looseness. A woman cannot be tight. A man cannot be tight either. But a woman needs to be very limber and very relaxed. Okay, very relaxed, for that energy to really rise. Like meditation, when you're in a trance, that's when everything opens. But the thing is, you can't go into trance in meditation if you don't have trust. If you don't trust yourself, you're not gonna allow yourself to go that deep, because you don't trust yourself. So part of a woman gaining trust in her sexuality is with herself, is with her own practice, because we can't just expect to, jump into sex never having like really gone deep with our own sense of sexuality, with our own space, with our own like touching our body and getting to know ourselves, like mind, body, and spirit, and to feel safe. So a man is like, I want to crack, open that woman, I want to crack her open so I can really, so that energy can be like even more explosive, right? Because she's the fire. He's the fire too, but she has even more energy than him, right? Women can orgasm a lot more than man can. Men, they say once a week is good for vitality, meaning ejaculation. Depending on how much vitality he has in his sexual energy. If he has a lot, gun-ho. But women, naturally, we have a lot more energy to orgasm than a man ejaculating. For him, it just gets exhausting if he has low energy, kind of thing. So with us, like, we're the fire, like, we're the one that really moves it. So when we're relaxed and when we trust ourselves, then we can start to have sexual relations with a partner where we can have trust with them. If we don't trust ourselves and like know ourselves and our boundaries and know our own sort of sexual energy and our own meditation, how to really unlock our own energy, when we're in sex with a man, we're going to be resistant, right? We're going to be resistant to him cracking us open and him like going inside. Like literally a man's penis is going inside, and it's like a man's, even his semen is like when goes inside kind of thing. It's like, I want to go into you and I want to like see into you kind of thing. That's very spiritual, right? I want to see into you. But if all our doors are locked, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, it's like that penis going in, that energy going into us, it's like hitting doors. So it's like, I'm hitting doors. And then what happens is sex taps out for a man. It reaches a glass ceiling, and then it becomes boring, right? Because a man, he wants to go into as many doors as possible within a woman. And when a man is going into her and all her doors are shut, because she hasn't activated, awakened, or really opened those doors to her mental, emotional, psychological, psychic, spiritual, all the creative, sexual, all of that kind of, her 10 bodies, right? It's like, what, right? Because a man, naturally, he's generous. Like the seed is, the seed gives to the woman. And the woman takes the seed. So that represents that a man wants to give to a woman. He wants to give her what she needs to better open doors within her own sexual energy, her own creative energy, emotional energy. Because when he gives her that and she does that, he gets to experience even greater sort of facets of sex with that woman. It's like he gets to experience all these different facets of this woman. And it's so exotic and extraordinary. And it doesn't just happen in a year. It happens throughout years, decades possibly, of that man being generous and saying, here's my seed. I give it to you because I want you to activate yourself. I want you to be a queen. I want you to be a goddess. I want you to awaken all the talents, all the beauty that you are. And if my seed can help you in any way, I want that for you. So that you can open doors, so that you can be even more beautiful as you grow and as you continue to grow and mature. And then what that does for me is that I get to be on the ride with you. You know, as a woman, if a woman, like, she's really fulfilled in her many facets of her, when she's fulfilled, he's like on the ride of his life. He's like, oh my God, I'm on the ride of my life. But when a woman is not fulfilled, when all her doors are closed, locked up tight, all of this tightness, it's like, I'm on the ride of hitting a glass ceiling, and I feel kind of sexually frustrated as a man. I keep hitting this glass ceiling, and then I started looking at other women and da-da-da-da kind of thing. Because a man, he wants to be on a wild ride. And he knows the conductor of that wild ride is not him, it's the woman. And it's not hard for a woman. It's more so about a woman relaxing, trusting herself, opening up the facets of her mind. You know, the 82, I call it the 82 facets of the mind. Opening up the 10 bodies, you know, the neutral, the positive minds, the emotional body, the radiant body, the subtle soul body. You know, opening up the many facets and faculties that makes her creative. The many facets of business in her, and career, and intelligence, and concentration, and meditation. I mean, woman is like, whoa, she is like so many. She's like this wild house of all these doors of quite interesting things, right? So when he's on that ride with her, it's the wild ride of his life. He never wants to get off of it, right? He never wants to get off, because every time he gives her his seed, it's like something else grows inside of her. Not just a baby. I'm talking about she's inspired by that seed. She's motivated. She feels more confident. She feels more sexy. She feels more secure. She feels more protected. She feels more safe. And a woman, when she feels really safe with a man, she can really open up everything. Like a whole Pandora's box can open for her to really express. And that's the greatest sort of intimacy, especially with a man, is a woman who is safe in her own body, who trusts herself. Because then when she comes forward to him, she can trust him. A woman cannot trust a man if she does not trust herself, because of all of her closed doors and whatever grief that she's still harboring inside of her. So when woman takes that dead energy of grief and all of that sort of closedness and tightness, and she really moves into compassion, self-love, healing, creativity, sexuality with the self, liberation with the self, being who her sexiness, you could say. She trusts herself to have boundaries, to say no, to go what's going to nurture her and stay away from what's going to steal and take from her. So then when she meets her king, she knows this is it or it's not. And there's no sort of in between, because she trusts herself enough to share herself with a man who's going to provide her the safety of the most generous king. I'm going to leave you guys with these thoughts, and thank you for joining me on this meditation of emotional healing, as well as working, like stirring up the sexual, because when you open your emotions, you open your sexual energy. So people who have blocked emotions, their sexuality is pretty, it can be pretty nowhere, right? It's kind of boring and unfulfilling, right? But when you open your emotions, like, whoa, the sex energy just, whoa, it's like spread eagle legs, like, kind of thing. So really, when you are starting to let go of some of the notions, you're really like opening up your sexual energy, and you're really saying, okay, I want to be ecstatic. Ecstatic is emotions. Ecstatic is creativity. they can't be separate. To be ecstatic is you have to be emotionally like opening, letting go, and then also creatively like limber, spread eagle, available, rocking it. So thank you.